If you're watching this, chances are good you want to get a job. You want to go from student to rising star, and you want to avoid eating the same meal over and over and over again. Good news, you're in the right place. That's right, LinkedIn. It's not just for top executives. It's not just for old people with heavy briefcases. It's for you, and it's the perfect place for you to start your professional story. Say you want to get a job in New York City. You've never been there before, but that's okay because you have LinkedIn on your side. You start by creating your profile. You give it love because you know it's what recruiters are looking for day and night. It's your resume that never sleeps. It's your flashing neon sign that says, hire me, for the love of all that is good in this world, hire me. Then you start making connections. Alumni working in New York? Yes. Recruiters at top companies in New York? Yes. Your mom's best friend? Yes. You start imagining whose shoes you want to walk in. You think, wow, this is a lot of deep stuff to consider. You shake yourself out of it and start searching for jobs. Whoa, that's a lot of jobs for students. Time to get down to business. You start to tailor your profile. You start applying. You feel empowered, in control, like you should be CEO. That gives you an idea. You look up all the CEOs of all the companies you want to work at. You see one of them went to your university. Then it hits you. You see a clear path from campus to career. You feel like you can see the future. You wonder if you're psychic. Should you start a hotline? No, back to plan A. You keep tailoring and connecting and applying, and before you know it, you start getting responses. First a few, then more, then an interview, and then you're hired. And that's when the real learning begins.
Hello, Africa. Hello, Central Eastern Europe. Hello, world. Wherever you're watching from, Malawi, Nigeria, you're watching from Brazil, you're watching from the US, wherever you're watching from, welcome back to That Friday Sizzler Show. It's been 3 weeks since we last connected up on That Friday Sizzler Show. And if this is your first time watching That Friday Sizzler Show, then it only pays that I tell you a little bit more about what to expect on this show. In terms of this show, I will start off by, of course, introducing myself. I'm Stuart Samkange, currently working at LinkedIn, helping develop, of course, our industries that really matter in the world of work today. These being higher education, healthcare, and of course, our nonprofit community. In that role, I get the opportunity to work on a regular basis with hiring managers, with HR managers, with curriculum developers, with learning and development professionals. And at the same time, I get to engage, particularly in the higher education sector, I get the opportunity to engage with those who help steer careers. Those could be career services professionals, alumni relations professionals, and of course, those in charge of employability. Now, in those interactions, of course, I get to meet lots of students, lots of job seekers, graduates, people looking for internships, remote work, people looking for new economic opportunities. And as much as I'd love to help each and every person, it's not possible. So I decided to commit my time on Friday every 2 weeks to help you as students, as graduates, as interns, and of course, as transitioning professionals. And of course, what we cover in this session is really about things that help you as a member develop your personal brand. You as a member start attracting new economic opportunities. These could be jobs, opportunities to speak, to co-author, opportunities to volunteer, opportunities to lead organizations or to partner with someone. The opportunities on LinkedIn are many. But before we even get into that, let me ensure that you can hear me and that I'm actually broadcasting live. By those of you who have joined, start telling me where you're watching from. And of course, today's session is about how to go beyond your profile. What are the things that you as a student, you as a graduate, you as a job seeker can do on LinkedIn to develop your personal brand and attract some of those new economic opportunities that you're looking for. What I'm looking for, folks, right now before we get started is somebody out there who's watching to confirm that you can hear me. And here's the thing, this show, what makes it absolutely unique is that you get the opportunity to ask questions, things that you've been struggling with. So in terms of going beyond your profile, today you'll have the opportunity to ask questions around what do I post? How often should I post? What are the things that are most effective in terms of content that I can post with my network? So folks, if you're watching and you can see me online, tell me you can hear me and tell me where you're watching from so that we can get ready to get started on this live stream, which is all about you as a student, you as a graduate, you as a job seeker, and of course, for those who help others with their careers, be it career services professionals, be it university employability or alumni relations professionals, this show is specifically for you. So folks, what are we going to be covering in this show? Just to set expectations, like we said, we're going to be also sharing with you how we enable you to access new economic opportunities. How do we do that? Well, I live stream particularly on two fronts. On Fridays, like today, like I said, it's really about assisting our job seekers. It's about assisting those who are transitioning in the world of work. And it's about assisting those who need to create personal brands. On Mondays, what we tend to do is that we tend to talk to hiring managers, we tend to talk to recruiters, talent acquisition professionals that are looking for talent. And what we do in those sessions is assist them in terms of identifying people like yourself. How do they find talent in the world of work today? So we have a series that we run, and the series that we've got coming up, just to give you the heads up, is that on the 7th of August, we're going to be talking about how to hire registered nurses. Now, we've covered several jobs in terms of assisting higher education, healthcare, and nonprofits identify talent. We've helped them understand how to hire fundraisers, teachers, how to hire cybersecurity professionals, how to hire AI engineers, and how to hire software developers. This is just a continuation of that series that runs on Mondays every 3 weeks. And as I said, the next one that's coming up is how we hire registered nurses. We also have other sessions that we do cover that are coming up, such as how to hire project managers, how to hire game developers, how to hire accountants, salespeople, and we end off this particular series with how to hire how to hire data scientists. So that's what's coming up. We will be advertising these on LinkedIn, and you'll get to see these as they're coming up, and you'll have the opportunity to register. And who are we particularly looking to register for these? We're looking especially for those of you who are in talent acquisition, those who are HR managers, those who sit on interview panels, those who sit and interact with our candidates. That show is particularly for you. But today is all about our members. And for our members, what I said I wanted to cover today was on the Sizzler, how do you go beyond your profile? So that's what we will be covering. And I see some people have already started joining in the chat. Thank you for confirming you can hear me. And thank you for watching directly from Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. Thank you for that confirmation. I think you saw the event. I was wearing a Zimbabwean t-shirt. So it's so good to see some people from Africa on this live stream that we're holding today. And today I'm rocking Ethiopia. So every week I'm going to try and rock out something different just to engage you as our audience. But enough about the dress code. Let's now transition over into some of the key messages I wanted to share with you. As mentioned already, we have a session coming up on Monday, the 7th of August at 9:30 Irish Standard Time on how to hire registered nurses. Make sure to join us and join our partner, Turn Left Media, as we talk about the tools, the tips, and of course, how to interview, how to position the jobs, and how to engage those who are working towards becoming registered nurses. In terms of today's show, like I said and promised you, it's about you. and your profile and your journey to establishing your credibility as a professional. Now, why am I sharing this particular side? And maybe why have I even shared it before? It's because as I talk to students, as I talk to graduates, as I talk to job seekers, one of the things I want to socialize is the ever-changing nature of world of work. The world of work has changed. Chances are in your lifetime, you're going to find yourself several times applying for new economic opportunities. It could be from a change in terms of your career trajectory. It could be because the organizations themselves have changed their direction in terms of the services, product, and solutions they need, and of course, the people who support that. Or it could be that you're moving into new roles, new opportunities, and new areas in the world of work. What's the resounding message or the advice I would give you, given that this world of work is going to change and that likely in your lifetime, you at least look for a job at least 4 times? I share this because what's important for us as individuals, all of us, whether you're gainfully employed, whether you're a student, or whether you're an entrepreneur, what pays is when we all make time for learning. Because if the world around us is changing and we're going to find ourselves either looking for new economic opportunities, moving into new jobs, new industries, new locations, if we're going to find ourselves in that situation, what's going to pay us is to go beyond our profile and also to build up that lifelong culture of learning so that we acquire the skills that will help us stand out for those new economic opportunities. And when I speak to you, I am not just speaking from just talking to people, but it's also leveraging the insights we've seen from a LinkedIn perspective. What have we seen in terms of what are the factors that determine how students are able to access economic opportunities such as jobs upon graduation? So what we did at LinkedIn is we looked at over 4.5 million members on our platform. And remember, on this platform, we're close to 1 billion now. We're at about 930 million members that are on this platform. We looked at those who recently graduated, and we said, of those who recently graduated, what were the factors that contributed to them getting access to economic opportunities, such as jobs upon graduation? And what we were able to deduce from that is that you need to have, as a profile, work experience, a connection, skills, and digital skills assessments. So what is this in a nutshell? Work experience is, of course, on LinkedIn, we get to outline on our profiles what work we've done, who we've interacted with, what results and impact we've had, number one. Number two, in terms of work connection, this is where going beyond your profile starts coming to life. Why? Because while you're on this platform, as you start following companies you want to work for, you want to start establishing connections within those organizations. These people might not be the people that can hire you, but these might be people that can help you understand that organization, the challenges, the opportunities, and maybe why they're hiring for that particular role. What's more, those connections could also advise you on some of the other skills that you can personally develop before you apply for the role or before you approach that organization for opportunities. Now, what are some of those skills they can advise you on? Because they work in those organizations, they're more likely to have insights on things that are required beyond your university degree or your diploma or your certificate. They would have insights on what soft skills matter, what behavioral skills matter, what hard skills matter in order for you to be successful should you be hired by that organization. So that's what we mean by an employee connection, is you establishing relationships with individuals in the companies you want to work for so that you get to know what they care about. And when you know what they care about, you're intentional about what you learn, and then you're also intentional about what you get to share on LinkedIn. All right. Let's move on to those 2 other blocks there, which is the skills side of things. On the skills side of things, here's my encouragement for you, and here's why I also led this conversation with make time for learning. Why? Like we said, when you're going to be interviewed, they're likely to go beyond your degree and your certificate that you've acquired from your university, your college, polytechnic, or wherever you studied. What they're going to be looking for is skills in demand that help you execute on the role. And some of those skills I spoke about are soft skills, hard skills, and behavioral intelligence skills. Now, we'll expand a little bit more about that, but I just want to let you know that you can get these skills right here on LinkedIn, the platform that you're on, and I'll talk about that a little bit more as we go along. In terms of going beyond your profile, I think it's important for us to align first on how we use our time. Because if we are intentional about going beyond our profile, likewise, we should be intentional about how we use our time and how we engage on multiple platforms. In terms of you accessing new economic opportunities, I took a look at some of the platforms that you, our members, tend to spend time on. And I took a look at this with a lens of helping you define why it pays for you to invest time on your LinkedIn profile as you go about looking for new economic opportunities. Because if you have a look at the graphics that I'm sharing here, some research was done around why people go onto social media platforms and what they seek to get out of those platforms. And for you, the students I'm speaking to today, for you, the recent graduates I'm speaking to today, for you, the transitioning professional who might have been laid off or who's looking for a new career opportunity, you want to ensure that you're spending your time, your free time, like this weekend. You want to ensure that you're spending that time in places that you're investing for your future. And what we're seeing here is that in terms of investing for our future, on LinkedIn, we're going to find the people who can buy our products, services, and solutions. On LinkedIn, we're going to find hiring managers. We're going to find the people we'll probably work with, and we're going to find the leaders that we'll probably report into. And as we spend this time and as we engage with them, we start developing and amplifying our personal brands so that those who can recommend us, those who can hire us, and those who will interview us will get a full reflection of the professionals we are. In terms of why we are on LinkedIn, as members, as students, as graduates, as of course job seekers, we're here to do so much more than just getting jobs. And that's what we're talking about today, is not just how to go about getting jobs, but also how we can amplify our voices to learn on this platform, to empower someone on this platform, to be educated, to find like-minded professionals, to connect with them, and for them to start recommending us or endorsing us, or at least helping us shape the career trajectory and journey that we're on as individuals. In terms of going beyond your profile, I like to lead also with that notion of how well do you know yourself. Maybe it's time to take a little bit of a reflection. Set aside what you've studied. Set aside the notions you have about the world of work and the dream jobs that you have. And just for a minute, take time to self-reflect. Because when we're going to go beyond building our profiles, we need to know a couple of things. One, we're not just going out there to find any job. We're going out there to find our dream job. And it pays for us that we establish for the world of work what that looks like. How do we do that? We start off by outlining on our profile and on things that we share on this profile what we're passionate about from a professional perspective, highlighting some of the areas where we might have current expertise or where we might be developing certain expertise. Next, we want to ensure that we're clear on what our personal goals are. Why are we on this platform? Is it to get a job? Is it to network? Is it to learn? Is it to share our thought leadership? Is it to gain experience? Is it to prepare for interviews? Why are you on this platform? Question number 3, what are you good at? If you were to turn around and talk to 3 people around you who know you really well, even as a student, even as an intern, even as a working professional who's transitioning into another role? What are the top 3 things people know you for? And maybe break it down into what are the top 3 hard skills you know me for? What can you rely on me for in terms of hard skills and product knowledge or technology? 1, 2. What are some of the soft skills? What do I bring into a team or a collaborative environment? Or do I take leadership roles? Do I lead without the title? So we're getting to understand the things that we seek as individuals and asking those around us to help us shape that narrative. And last but not least, in terms of behavioral intelligence, ask the people around you, what are the top 3 things that you know I exhibit that will give the behavioral intelligence of whether I'm shaping up to be a leader, shaping up to be a great employee, or shaping up to be a great service provider to the world and the community around me. What's more, on LinkedIn, as we go about establishing our credibility beyond the CV, beyond the certifications, beyond the degrees and all those things that we have behind us, what is it that's going to help establish our credibility? So the content that we're sharing, does it speak to our values? Does it highlight the actions, the results that we're getting from what we're doing in the world right now? And of course, once you've gone through that self-reflection, I want you to take a step back and ask yourself, how do I feel? Would I hire me? Because that's what it's all about on this platform, is that we're looking ultimately to engage human beings, to engage hiring managers, to engage recruiters, to engage those that can give us access to these new economic opportunities. And of course, we've talked about this in other LinkedIn live streams, is that you need to, as an individual, not only have a profile that is static, but a dynamic profile. And that's why today we're talking about going beyond your profile. It's going beyond having the standard information on your profile that helps you stand out. And for those of you who missed our previous live streams, here's some of the standard or expected information that's going to help you stand out on LinkedIn as an individual. Here's an example of a top fold for James, highlighting a great profile photograph there, highlighting where James currently is located. We get to see, of course, from James where he's currently working, where he studied. We also get to see the opportunities for members to connect with James. This is what makes a great profile top fold. Just ensuring that the logos for the institutions you're working for, the institutions where you studied, whether you choose to add your contact details, putting in a great headline of telling people where you are on your career journey, all of this formulates what looks like a great profile. And for those of you who are watching, those of you who might be thinking of editing your profiles or hesitant about editing your profiles, here's what I want to send and share with you right now. There's no such thing as a perfect profile. What you do have, though, is great profiles. So have a look at some of our members on LinkedIn. There's over 930 million members, and you can filter and search for those in roles, in jobs, in locations that you care about, and have a look at how they're telling their story. And when you've understood how they're telling their story, you want to authentically borrow 1 or 2 words and start telling your story. So we won't cover too much about, of course, building out your LinkedIn profile, because we have covered this in previous live streams. But what we do want to cover in this live stream is how you leverage your LinkedIn profile to go beyond your profile, to start engaging, to network, to start communicating, to ensure that the world of work knows the value that you bring in terms of highlighting some of the recognition and awards that you've won, and of course, ultimately establishing your credibility. Folks, if you have questions, this is your show. This is not about Stuart just sharing best practices. This is your show. So what have you struggled with? Do you have a question? And if you do, put it into the chat and I'll definitely bring you up on screen and let the world know what your question is, because guess what? I don't have all the answers. We join these live streams so that we network, we connect. I'm going to be sharing some of my top 12 best practices of going beyond your profile in this live stream, but I know there's some smart people out there So don't let me down. Join me on this journey and start contributing in the chat some of the ideas you have around how one can go beyond their profile, maybe based on your own personal experience. So in terms of going beyond our own profiles, just one last tip for those of you who are thinking of editing your profile after this. Here's some things that will help you stand out. If you add volunteer experience, did you know that you're 6 times more likely to get profile views? 6 times. Did you hear me? I said it 6 times. Why? Because the world of work, those who hire you are human beings. And those human beings work for organizations that do corporate social responsibility activities. They help the communities in which they operate in. And in doing that, they might be looking for like-minded professionals who have maybe helped in disaster recovery, who have helped in children, affairs to do with children, helped in affairs to do with animal and wildlife, helped in affairs to do with helping society and the communities that we operate in. So my first pro tip is go in and add your volunteer experience. What you also have an opportunity to do in terms of going on beyond your LinkedIn profile is to add in your patents, add in your awards, add in the honors you've received, add in your test scores, add in the causes that you care about. A lot to take in right now. And I know you will still have the opportunity after this live stream to go back and review some of these best practices for yourself as you start developing your voice. But what I wanted to do in this session is really to give you, based on personal experience, some of my best practices of what I've seen when I've journeyed on the platform and helped me get to where I am today. It's about understanding, first of all, not only ourselves, but understanding our audience, those that we're looking to write for. What do they care about? And therefore, I can now start making sure that when I'm posting content that is going out there to establish my personal credibility, I'm using hashtags. I'm using industry terminology. I'm referring to things that my community cares about. And what's more, if you don't feel confident enough to start sharing with your community, you have the opportunity every day to be a student and every day to be a teacher. So what is it that you're consuming that will be valuable for those that you seek to work with? So maybe you read an article, maybe you saw a video, maybe you saw a publication. So you have a choice to repost it for your network and add in your perspective, your voice, your tone. Read this article, which is talking about inflation or talking about higher education, pharmaceutical industry. Here's my perspective and why people in my country or in my region should care about this. Add your perspective. Repost other people's content. Engage with content that you find educational, empowering, and informative. Engage with other people's content. That way, you grow closer to those people as they start seeing your own perspective, your own comments and opinions around things they've posted. And pretty soon, you've got one more valuable connection that's going to get you one step closer to that new economic opportunity that you need. And I know some of us are job seeking on this platform. It pays for us to go beyond our profiles and start establishing our professional personal brands. Because if we're sharing content that is educational or informative or that is inspiring, pretty soon we become a reference point. Those in our community start looking to us, if we're consistently engaging with them, as being people who can help them solve for some of the challenges they might have in the world of work today. So what are some of these ideas in terms of what you can start doing and what you can start sharing on LinkedIn that helps you go beyond your profile? And folks, I see some people are joining in. I've got colleagues from LinkedIn. I see Lana has just joined in, and I am looking forward to be hosting Lana on this live stream in the near future. I've also got a couple of other people joining from around the world. Hello. Who's this? Let's see here. Is that Lillian? Ilana, sorry, I pronounced your name wrong. My bad. It's Friday. Forgive me. But thank you for joining in from Zimbabwe. And of course, all of you who are watching this globally have a choice to ask questions because we're live. When you'll be watching this later on, when we post it on YouTube, you won't be able to watch live. All you can do is like, subscribe, or add comments. Just a little bit of a segue there. But let's get back to this. In terms of going beyond your profile, one of the things that I've found works is using images or videos to engage people. Because if we think about it, all of us have these devices, these mobile devices. And when we have these mobile devices, have you watched your behavior? You tend to scroll through an average of a mile of content every single day. But what arrests your attention is images, rich images or videos, or people you recognize. So, what's my advice for you? Leverage the power of images or video to engage your audience, to be a thumb stopper. When people are scrolling, to get them to stop on your content, what you might want to do at first is to ensure that there's some visual stimulation through an image. Number two, you might want to also ensure that you're sending up positive news. And what are some of the examples of the positive news and some of the things that we can do on this platform to go beyond our profiles? So if you've recently invested in learning or getting a certification, or you're looking to celebrate a colleague who's just joined your organization, or someone who's mentored, coached you, or helped you, we have ways on LinkedIn to celebrate these occasions. So leverage LinkedIn to highlight to the world of work if you just graduated or if you just acquired a certain skill. And my pro tip for you, those of you who are using LinkedIn Learning, is not only to add the LinkedIn Learning certificate onto your profile, because it will give you 9% added advantage in terms of being discovered by recruiters and hiring managers when you add those certificates onto your profile. I also encourage you to share with the world. I've just recently completed this course. Here are the top 3 things that I learned and why I would encourage you to learn. In fact, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something unprecedented. Remember, I spoke about the fact that on the 7th of August, we're going to have a session aimed at helping higher education, nonprofits, and healthcare hire registered nurses. Well, guess what? Yours truly has been doing some courses on LinkedIn Learning on how to become a nurse. And I will be sharing some of those courses today. And here's the thing. You have 48 hours to take some of those short-term courses if you are interested in becoming a nurse. And when you finish those, add the certificate, tag me on LinkedIn, and we will celebrate with you as you acquire these new skills. So, just as a giveaway, today, look out for posts that I'm going to be making. I'm going to make some LinkedIn Learning courses free for you so that you can get the skills that will help you get hired if you're in the space of looking for jobs in the nursing area. What else can we do with our LinkedIn profiles? And going beyond our profiles is that those of us who have, of course, the creative mode activated on LinkedIn, you have an opportunity to host a video event, a live audio event, or even to start engaging in other people's events. So going beyond your profile is not just you pushing out content, but it's participating in those events where you will learn more about industry, you'll learn more about jobs, you'll learn more about the opportunities in the sectors you care about. On LinkedIn, of course, you also have the opportunity to find subject matter experts. And I'll share a few examples of how you do that, either through searches and filters or alternatively in joining groups. Here's one other one I found super useful as I've gone about engaging on LinkedIn. I've used LinkedIn to learn. And I've used LinkedIn to maybe realign some perceptions I might have had about certain things. So what do? I run a poll on LinkedIn. And when I run a poll on LinkedIn, some of our 930 million members, or people who are connected with me and people who are not even connected with me, participate in that poll. And when they participate in that poll, not only does it educate me, but it educates those that I interact with on the platform and those who participated in the poll. So that's just one other way that you can leverage LinkedIn to go beyond your profile. But I know a lot of you joined in today to talk more about posting. And if you've got questions, like I said, make sure to ask questions if You have them, and of course, to network in the chat and commentary section. But I don't want to digress. We're nearly at time. Today's show is a sizzler, and with a sizzler, we tend to keep it short. So if you don't ask questions, well, we'll be wrapping up pretty soon. But if you do have questions, then we continue. Now, in terms of posting content on LinkedIn, this is probably what the second most asked questions when I'm interacting with students, with professionals, when I'm interacting with those like you, members on LinkedIn that are saying, well, Stuart, what are some of the great things to post on LinkedIn? Here's some ideas of what you could be posting on LinkedIn. And I spoke to some of this already. Remember, I said every day, each and every one of us has an opportunity to teach, to empower, to educate, to help our network learn something that we have learned. And here's some of the ways that we do it. We do this by sharing what we're reading and consuming. Maybe you're listening to a podcast, or maybe you're reading a book and you believe that there's a sentence, a paragraph, an infographic, or something that will help your audience. Share it with your network. Number two, maybe you could use it to ride off the wave of what's happening in the world around you. Maybe in a particular industry, in a particular economy, or in a particular field that you're interested in working in. And of course, all of us have access to trending news that's happening around the world. And what we have also an opportunity to do is to add our perspective to some of that trending news, whether it be debunking a particular topic, sharing information, or putting your opinion to it. LinkedIn is a place where you'll find like-minded professionals that can also add in their perspective. And when they add in their perspective to your comment, to your post, here's what I'm asking you to do. Have a look. Are they connected to me? Should I be connected to them? What is it that they've shared, and how does it help me grow? On LinkedIn, of course, we are professional, and what we're looking for is to bring other people in to engage with our content. If you're asking yourself, how often should I post? My answer to that is simply post engaging content, and then you won't feel the pressure to be posting content all the time. Because what we're looking for is not only to be one-way directional, but to ask a question and to get those around us contributing to that conversation so that that content has a longer shelf life on this platform. And of course, use hashtags so that those in your industry, those who can hire you, recommend you, those you're likely to work with, when they're searching for information to do with their industry, hashtag data scientist, hashtag AI engineer, hashtag healthcare, hashtag higher education, whatever hashtag aligns with your message, use it. Don't go hashtag crazy like me. I used to do that, loads of hashtags, maybe limit it to 5. So that when people search for content related to that topic, your content is surfacing. What else do we want to do on LinkedIn is, of course, people appreciate going behind the scenes. You know yourself, going for a concert is exciting, it's fun, but the special moment is when you're encouraged or invited to go backstage. So this is what people are looking for. So are you hosting an event? Is something happening in your business, in your world, or in your economy? And can you give people a sneak preview of what's happening backstage? Or maybe even front stage. You're participating in an event. What's your running commentary around what you're learning? Share it with the world. Look to engage, look to enable, look to empower, and of course, look to educate ultimately. And of course, as those of you are working in companies, you have the opportunity, of course, to reshare content coming from organizations that you're currently working for. What else can we do on LinkedIn in terms of going beyond our profile? Have you ever thought about starting a newsletter on LinkedIn? Did you know newsletters are available on LinkedIn? Did you know that newsletters will help expand your reach? Did you know newsletters are the best ways, one of the best ways of getting your thought leadership out there to those that you're looking to engage? But here's what you need to do. You need to commit to it. So if you are starting a newsletter, you need to be committed to the frequency in which you say you'll be posting content. And with our newsletters, guess what? you have the opportunity to build up a loyal subscriber base, a base that will you can reach out to, or a base that you can engage with later on when you're now looking to access those economic opportunities. And from this base of subscribers, as they interact with your content, they start believing and seeing you as a subject matter expert in your area. And of course, the feedback helps you understand what content works, what content they care about, and of course, what content to revisit in terms of content that matters. Let's carry on, folks. We're nearly at the end of time. And of course, I would like to welcome some of you who are just joining us. And I see some colleagues that I worked with back in Kenya. Welcome to this live stream. And of course, we've got people watching from around the world. Hello, Mr. Lee, watching out of the United Kingdom. And of course, we've got people watching, as you can see, all the way from Zimbabwe and around the globe. And as I said, I bring you up on screen particularly to highlight the fact that this live stream is bi-directional. It's not just me sharing best practices. You have an opportunity to ask questions and get your questions answered. Get your questions answered immediately. Wow, Friday. Anyway, I don't want to digress. Let's go back to this live stream and, of course, the key messages that I wanted to share. So on LinkedIn, we can share updates and we can publish. And I want to define the difference between the two. So on LinkedIn, when we do a post, that's an update, right? So when you hear me say the word updates, I'm talking about a post. This is where we get the opportunity to share a link, to share an article, add a picture to it, or we quote something that's happening around us. We put an image to it. This is when we get to engage with our followers and those we're connected with. Now, if you're just beginning your journey and you're a student, don't expect to go viral. That's not what this platform is about. This platform is about meaningfully and intentionally engaging those who matter. Professionals behave differently on this platform. I've often looked at posts that I've made where I've given out some fantastic career advice and I get like 5 likes. That's not the issue. What I care about is how many impressions, how many eyeballs have actually looked at that content. What I also care about is how many people actually repost that content, because that's expanding my reach into their networks, allowing my message to reach people that are outside of my network, outside my first, second, and third degree network. So I'm not looking for the likes. I'm looking for impressions, which gives me an idea of people looking at it. And of course, on LinkedIn, we get to see what role, what company, which locations they come from, etc. But I'm also looking for people to reshare my content, and not only to reshare it, but to contribute to that content. So that's why one of my best practices is, if you're sharing the top 5 tips around finding a job, share 4. You say in the headline, my top 5 tips on how to get a job, but you only share 4. Why? Because you want the 5th one to come from your audience. What do they care about? What have you missed in the 4 points that you have highlighted? And then, of course, as people contribute, you're reflecting back, you're thanking them for the things that you might have missed out on, or you're giving your opinion about why that particular point should not be important or is greatly important. So that's what we do with our posts. We're not just looking for one-way communication. We're looking to engage our audience, to share meaningful information, and for them to share with us some of the things that we might have missed out on. Number 2, publishing. On LinkedIn, we have the opportunity to publish an article. What is an article? An article is something that's going to stay with our profiles. It's going to stay on our profiles as long as LinkedIn continues to permit it. What do I mean exactly? When you post an update, it will show on the profiles, on the news threads as people interact with it. But as people stop interacting with it, it might not surface for your audience. But if you publish an article, and what would you publish here? Typically, I would publish the things people always ask me for. So in my case, people ask me, how do I build my profile? Because I work with hiring managers, they might ask, Stuart, how do we hire cybersecurity professionals? How do we hire AI engineers? How do we hire recruiters? How do we hire HR managers? Those are things people ask me all the time. People also ask, how do I, as a student, create my personal brand story? Now, I could bring out a laptop, I could bring out a document and start helping them. But here's what I do on my profile. Because I've published articles that speak to this, people can always go back and revisit these. Likewise, on your profile, you have an option to actually feature some of these articles on your profile so that when you meet people socially, and they're asking for your resume, or they're asking for your thesis, or they're asking for your contribution to a particular topic, and you know they'll ask for it, you can not only, one, connect up with them on LinkedIn using your mobile phone, but you can also point them to that article. How powerful would it be if you wrote, as a student, an article around the changing nature of the pharmaceutical industry and what changes need to be made in order for pharmaceutical organizations to continue to thrive in your country? Now, you write that article. Over time, those who follow you, those who are connected with you, will add their opinions or add their contributions. And that article, when you're given a chance to be interviewed, that's one of the things you're going to be pointing to them and say, well, I have spoken about what changes are required, what contributions I would like to make. I wrote an article on this. 300 people read about it. 40 people commented. And as you can see, I've started engaging with like-minded professionals that are in the world of work or the sphere that I'm trying to operate in. So those are the two choices you have. Updates and posts, like we said, the things we post will continue to be on the platform and will be shown to those you're connected with. That's why it's important that as individuals, we're connected to like-minded professionals that can help us in our career and those who are on this journey with us. Publishing is where we write a more permanent article that's going to be part of our profiles to eternity. And we do that so that we can reference it in interviews. We can reference it when given an opportunity to interact with people socially, and we can reference it when we're positioning our products, services, and solutions. In terms of how you go about posting these things on LinkedIn, of course, on LinkedIn, when you start posting, it'll ask you what you want to post. And it'll give you an opportunity to add a document, to add a photograph, to add an infographic. It will also give you the opportunity, like we said earlier on, to celebrate specific occasions. So in terms of sharing your status updates, it all begins, of course, on your news feed right at the top there, where you can start posting out content. And when you're posting that content, you have a choice on who can see it. So you can choose for it to go global, or you can choose, for example, for it to be posted not only on your LinkedIn profile, but of course to go onto other platforms such as Twitter, or should I say X in the current circumstances. Or you want that article to be just seen by those that you're connected with. Folks, I haven't seen any questions coming in, so I'm going to continue, and we're going to get close to summarizing some of the ways that you can go about going beyond your profile. And as we said, these tips that we're giving today, ideally, the audience I'm looking to educate is my prime audience of students, graduates of colleges, polytechnics, universities, and of course, to help some of you who are transitioning job seekers and professionals. What else we can do in terms of content is, of course, we can share short form posts, which is what we started talking about right now, where we are succinct, where we're looking to solicit engagement from other professionals around an idea, a quote, or a topic. We can write and publish an article, like I said, and this stays with your profile. And of course, the value with publishing an article is that this will give you the widest reach on LinkedIn beyond just a post. And of course, we live in a digital world, and of those like yourself around you, they're consuming digital content using videos. And it's important, again, when we think of videos, to use subtitles, because when we use subtitles, it helps our global audience understand our accents, understand some of the things that we're sharing. In terms of some of the tips, like I said, I've got 12 tips that I'll be giving out at the end of this session. But here's some of the best practices when you're posting on LinkedIn. Number one, use your authentic voice. Who are you? Write as yourself. Yes, I know we got AI assisting us with some of that, and I'm sure some of you have seen the AI experience, and I'm super excited about this because, of course, some of us are not wordsmiths. Some of us are not so comfortable communicating or sharing on this platform. So LinkedIn has embedded AI to help you start off that conversation. So if you've seen that, leverage that. But of course, let the AI help you start off that conversation. But what you want to do is ensure that it's authentic and it actually sounds like it's you. Because like we said, ultimately, we are engaging with human beings on the platform. In terms of how often should you post, like I said, if you're posting content that is engaging, empowering, and that is inspiring and helping your community, and they're interacting with it, then it takes away the pressure to be posting frequently. Again, for those of you who might be thinking, what are some of the best practices around this, is to pick out certain days where you post certain topics, whether it's on leadership, whether it's on inspirational quotes, whether it's on educational achievements, whether it's posts that engage your audience. Try and pick out and build out a content strategy for yourself in terms of engaging on this platform. What's more, like we said already, use rich media because that's the thumb stopper that will get people to start looking at your content. And of course, LinkedIn is a platform where we get to celebrate each other. So, as I said, look to get engagement from your audience, acknowledge your audience, and of course, look to reciprocate by reading content from others and reposting content from those who are helping you shape your career and your journey. We've already spoken, of course, about the use of hashtags. What we might not have spoken about is the use of the @ symbol, tagging people to your content, bringing them into the conversation. Another great way to get a conversation going on LinkedIn and to drive engagement. In terms of publishing on LinkedIn, we've just spoken, of course, about posting, publishing on LinkedIn. As we said, it becomes part of your profile. It's the widest way for you to reach the audience out there on LinkedIn, the 930 million members on the platform. This is the best way to reach them. In terms of publishing content on LinkedIn, here's my top tips. Make sure it's a catchy headline, not clickbait, a headline that invokes someone to be curious and want to read the content. Number two, the use of images, again, really powerful. Again, think about your audience. And when I say think about your audience, we're not looking to use the publishing platform on LinkedIn to write a whole book. We're looking to start a conversation. We're looking to share an idea and to get contributions from those that are out in the world of work reading that article. So when I say think about your audience, I'm saying don't make it too long. Again, think about you. When you see an article, or when you see things in bullet points, or when you see an image or an infographic, or when you see a chart, what does that arrest your attention? And if it does, then definitely you want to leverage some of those best practices when you're looking to engage your external audience. And of course, like we said before, the use of hashtags or mentioning certain people will help your content resonate, engage those you need to bring into the conversation or those around them that need to know about this conversation that's happening. Going beyond your profile goes beyond just posting on LinkedIn. It also speaks to the behaviors that you have on LinkedIn. So if you are a job seeker, I encourage you to follow companies in the industries where you want to work. Follow those organizations and click the notifications button, the notifications bell. So when you follow a company, you're going to see a notifications bell come up. Click on that bell and request to see every new post that comes from that organization. Why? Because if you are looking for jobs from specific organizations, when they post content, they typically are celebrating events, they're announcing people they've hired, they're announcing products, solutions, and services. They're talking about their customers. You want to consume that. You want that to come to your LinkedIn feed. You want to be informed about that because that's what will start shaping some of the messages you're going to be sharing with the world of work. So follow the organizations that you want to work for. And remember, when recruiters, when hiring managers look at your profile, this is one of the things they look at. Are you following us? And are you following our competitors? Because this shows me what interest you have in working in this particular segment, and that you're not only just considering my company, but you're considering my peers in this sector or my competitors. What's more, on LinkedIn, going beyond your profile, you have the opportunity to follow industry leaders and industry captains. And there are many on LinkedIn that have been identified by our subject matter experts as being leaders and captains of industry. So follow them. And here I say follow them, not connect with them. No point in me trying to connect up to Bill Gates, for example, right now. Maybe he's not aware of Stuart, but I can follow the content that he posts. Same thing applies if I was looking to work for a local organization. Follow the leaders or follow the hiring managers, not necessarily reaching out to connect with them because they might not know you as a student or as an intern or a job seeker, but follow them so that when they post comment, you have an opportunity to see that content and you have the opportunity to interact with that content that they might have shared. So there's influencers who are professionals curated by LinkedIn that you can follow. And of course, as we know, as we look for jobs, there are leaders in those companies that we can choose to follow. Folks, we're nearly at wrap-up time. Do you have any questions? If not, I'm going to start summarizing. All right, going beyond your profile, another tip for you is, of course, for you to leverage LinkedIn to increase your knowledge, to increase your awareness about the industries and the jobs that you're looking for. How do you do that? You do that by joining groups of like-minded professionals on LinkedIn. There's well over 1.5 million groups on LinkedIn. 1.5 million. There is a group for your industry, your role, your country, your region on LinkedIn. Join those groups. Understand what they're talking about. What problems are they solving for? Share your perspective. And again, start seeing which people are active in those groups. Start engaging with those people one-on-one or with their content. And of course, start reaching out for referrals. Start reaching out for informational interviews. You're a professional. I meet someone in a group. They're professional, they're seasoned, they've experienced, they've been in this industry for a while. I want to reach out to them and understand what skills can I develop as a young professional so that I have a sterling career just like them. In terms of what else you can do in terms of going beyond your profile, a critical thing is going back and reviewing those things that you've posted. Who has interacted with them? Are you connected with them? What sort of people are you able to reach? Which geographies are they in? Which companies do they represent? And are they engaging with your content on a regular basis? These insights are only available to you. So take the time as you go through the content that you've posted before to review who you've reached, so that you start understanding where you have the greatest reach and where maybe you might need to change or adapt the content that you're sharing to reach the crowds or to reach the hiring managers and recruiters that you want to reach as a young professional. Of course, you will have time after this to go through this presentation and also to read more beyond what I spoke about as you watch the replay. But before you leave, here's my top urgents for you. Make time for learning, folks. Make time for learning. And the best place to learn is LinkedIn Learning. And I'm not just saying that because I work here. I'm saying that because I know what informs LinkedIn Learning. What informs LinkedIn Learning is the 930 million members on the platform, the 59 million companies on the platform, the 11 million jobs that can be found on the platform at any given time. That informs LinkedIn Learning on what content is great for you as a student, as an intern, as a job seeker to acquire, because we're looking at jobs. We're looking at when companies are seeking those professionals like yourself or seeking students like yourself, what do they look for? And when we've understood that, that's how we create LinkedIn Learning content. So I encourage you to make time for learning. And of course, the best place to make time for learning is on LinkedIn Learning. And of course, as we summarize and close out the show, I wanted, of course, to share this, as I always do, with students, with graduates, and job seekers, is that hunting for jobs is not easy. Accept it. given, but you can help yourself on this journey by making good use of your time, by being intentional about where you spend your time. And then again, in terms of when you're on this platform, what you're doing and why you're doing it. And when you think about what you're doing and why you're doing it, who are you doing it for? And who are you doing it with? Make time for learning, folks. You'll have an opportunity after this to go back and reflect on some of the ideas and best practices that I've been able to share on this live stream with you. Folks, a quick reminder that coming up on the 7th of August, 2023 at 9:30 Irish Standard Time, we will be helping those of you who are looking to go into the healthcare sector how to hire a registered nurse. There we'll be talking, of course, about LinkedIn's tools, the interview questions to ask, the skills to look for, the way to position jobs, how to engage this talent. That's what we'll be doing in that live stream. So yes, you can join as a job seeker to start preparing yourself for those interviews, to understand what questions you can likely anticipate, what skills they're looking for, and of course, how that will go out there and help you. In terms of this live stream, and of course, how you can get more tips on building your profile and going beyond your profile, I'm about to share with you a QR code. But before I do that, I just want to check if we've got any questions that have come through the chat and then answer those and then end off with my top 12 tips on how to go beyond your profile. In case you didn't catch those, let's just see who else is watching. Welcome. I see people watching from Kenya. And of course, I see a colleague watching. Hi, Janine, how you doing? So good to see you and so good for you to connect. Please share this live stream with your community, those that need help, students, job seekers, alumni, and graduates that are out there in the world of work. So let's summarize this with my top 12 tips. And here they go. And we're going to go pretty fast in terms of highlighting these because we're at the hour mark. And that's what the Sizzler is about. It's short, it's succinct. And of course, we answer your questions. So here are my top 12 tips in case you missed them. Number one, use your authentic voice. There's only one version of you. No one else can better represent you than yourself. So write as you would probably speak to an individual, a leader, or someone that you're looking to inspire and connect with. Number two, I encourage you to seek engagement. So when you're posting, I encourage you to be intentional about seeking engagement from the people who are reading your content. Are you just looking for them to click like? No. You're looking for their perspective. You're looking for them to challenge you. You're looking for them to educate you on maybe what you've missed out. Tip number 3 is start a conversation. Yeah, we're looking to start a conversation, not one directional information, but starting a conversation. Tip number 4 is for you to leverage hashtags and, of course, to use the @ to tag someone into a conversation. And like I said, after this, I'm sharing some free courses that I recently completed that help you become a registered nurse. Some of those courses are actually cross-industry, can be applied cross-industry. So after this live stream, go onto my LinkedIn profile. You've got 48 hours to get access to some free courses that help you get skills for jobs. So when you finish those courses, tag me. That's why I'm talking about this. Use the @ tag me. And of course, the network that we are on LinkedIn, we will celebrate that investment you've made in learning. Number 5, look to reciprocate, look to encourage, look to engage those out in the world of work, look to acknowledge other people's perspective and point of views as you're on this platform, and look for those people to reshare your content or for you to reshare other people's content as a way of going beyond your profile. Number 6, I want you to create a headline that captures attention. And I said, steer away from clickbait. What we want is, of course, a headline to our post, to our published article that gets people curious and wanting to read more. Number 7, use videos and images. We already spoken about how people behave. Look at yourself when you're scrolling through your phone. What arrests your attention? It's images and videos. So leverage images and videos to actually engage your audience. Number 8, think about your audience. Don't make it too long. And as I said, One of the mistakes I personally made was having too many hashtags in my posts, right? Keep it to about 5, right? It will help that content surface, and it will make the content more readable for those who are reading and engaging with your content. And be ready to receive criticism, or at least ideas from other people. So that thing about having too many hashtags, shout out to Royston who's watching this. Royston, thanks for telling me my content is getting diluted by having too many hashtags, and that's why now I've trimmed it down to 5. Look to learn every day. Each one, teach one. All right, tip number 9 is we're getting to the top 12 of my tips. Tip number 9 is, of course, length matters. Yep, you heard me. Length matters. Don't make it too long. Let's keep it succinct. Number 10, always be learning. The only way you can share content is if you have a growth mindset and if you're willing to learn. Because when you learn, then you can educate, then you can empower, then you can engage those around you. Number 11 comes up again, and if you're watching and you're paying attention, that was also tip number 1. Be authentic. I can never overemphasize this. Be yourself. Right? So even if you are writing or referencing an article you've read before, add your perspective to it. What did this article do for you? Why are you encouraging other people to read it? Maybe it's in 3 or 4 bullet points in terms of here's what I got out of it, and here's why I'm encouraging you to go on and read the full article. And then drum roll, please. Number 12 is seek to engage, seek to educate, seek to empower, and seek to elevate other professionals. So what is it that you're posting that will help shine a light on other professionals that have mentored you, coached you, or maybe you attended an event and you learned something, or maybe what you're sharing empowers someone to achieve something that they're struggling with. It elevates them, it inspires them, it encourages and excites them about what is possible with limited resources and how they can go about achieving the same for themselves. Those are my top 12 points on what you need to do in terms of going beyond your profile. For those of you who have joined us live on LinkedIn, thank you very much for joining. And of course, my question that I always ask if you've joined us live on LinkedIn is, what did you learn today? And what is it that you're going to share with somebody else on LinkedIn today? Or what is it that you're going to take action on regarding your own journey on LinkedIn? What are you changing in terms of your narrative, your newsletters, polls, questions, comments, or even the way that you interact with posts, or how you have an opportunity to publish a long-term article? So what did you learn? What is it that you're going to share with a student, with a job seeker, with someone who's seeking internship, someone seeking remote work, someone seeking to become known as an industry leader, someone seeking to amplify their voice on this platform so that they can go find and to be found for new economic opportunities? And of course, this speaks to opportunities beyond just jobs. Opportunities to share the stage, opportunities to co-author, opportunities to be involved in research. There's so many economic opportunities on LinkedIn. And some of those economic opportunities will find you the more you share, credible information that helps your network. Recommendations are powerful. I'm well into my 4th job now through other people who have recommended me. And they've recommended me not because they've seen me or they've met with me. They've recommended me because of the content I share on LinkedIn. And not just this digital content, not video, not audio, but also content that I share on a weekly basis that empowers my network. So what is it that you're going to be doing in terms of sharing your voice and amplifying it on this platform? Folks, the Sizzler is done. We're 9 minutes over, but hey, forgive me. I had a lot to share. And of course, I'm super passionate about helping you, my community of students, graduates, and job seekers. And like we said, we do this every second week. We tend to cover things that will help you create your brand story, that will help you find access to new economic opportunities. But like I also mentioned, on Mondays, every 3rd week, and of course, we will be advertising this on LinkedIn, like coming up on the 7th of August, we're going to be doing a session, of course, of how to hire registered nurses. And I know some of you are still on this stream and are going, Stuart, you promised to share us a hashtag of where we can find more information and how we can go about self-servicing. As I said, I wish I had the bandwidth, but I don't, to help each and every one of you individually, but I can't, and unfortunately I won't. But here's how you can go about helping yourself, is you can find some of this content on YouTube. And of course, like they say on YouTube, like, subscribe, and click the notifications. Or you can go on Twitter. You can find out about events and some of the top tips I give students on that platform. And of course, we have in the bottom left-hand corner there a URL code where you as a student can go in and join the world's biggest network of professionals by building out your profile. So what are the tips that you need in order as a student to rock your profile? And I'll put that in the bottom left-hand corner. And if we're not connected already, well, we should be connected. Thank you for joining this live stream. You can connect up with me in the top right-hand corner there on the mobile device. There's a QR code that will take you to my profile. Thank you very much for watching today. I hope you found today inspirational, empowering, and of course, motivational in terms of your journey on LinkedIn. The one thing that I ask from you is that you give me some feedback. Some feedback is a gift that I really appreciate on what topics you'd like us to cover and some of the things that you still have questions around, so that we can help you on this platform get access not only to a job, but to a dream job and a dream career. Thank you very much for joining me. It's time to shine, and I'm going to close out this show today with a video. I always close it out with a video, so if you've watched the show, you should be surprised. But what I do find is that when I share videos, it's not just to visually stimulate you, but it's to maybe cover an area that I didn't cover in our live stream. So as I close out this live stream, I'm dedicating the video that's coming up to students, to those of you who recently graduated, to those of you who don't have a LinkedIn profile. I dedicate the next video to you so that you can understand how you go about accessing these economic opportunities on LinkedIn and leveraging and making LinkedIn work for you. Have a great weekend, folks. It's now time to shine as a human being, so enjoy it. Cheers now.
If you're watching this, chances are good you want to get a job. You want to go from student to rising star, and you want to avoid eating the same meal over and over and over again. Good news, you're in the right place. That's right, LinkedIn. It's not just for top executives. It's not just for old people with heavy briefcases. It's for you, and it's the perfect place for you to start your professional story. Say you want to get a job in New York City. You've never been there before, but that's okay because you have LinkedIn on your side. You start by creating your profile. You give it love because you know it's what recruiters are looking for day and night. It's your resume that never sleeps. It's your flashing neon sign that says, hire me, for the love of all that is good in this world, hire me. Then you start making connections. Alumni working in New York? Yes. Recruiters at top companies in New York? Yes. Your mom's best friend? Yes. You start imagining whose shoes you want to walk in. You think, wow, this is a lot of deep stuff to consider. You shake yourself out of it and start searching for jobs. Whoa, that's a lot of jobs for students. Time to get down to business. You start to tailor your profile. You start applying. You feel empowered, in control, like you should be CEO. That gives you an idea. You look up all the CEOs of all the companies you want to work at. You see one of them went to your university. Then it hits you. You see a clear path from campus to career. You feel like you can see the future. You wonder if you're psychic. Should you start a hotline? No, back to plan A. You keep tailoring and connecting and applying, and before you know it, you start getting responses. First a few, then more, then an interview, and then you're hired. And that's when the real learning begins.